I've been getting, I got to say, I'm good. I've been given so much. Well, I fluctuate between happiness and just madness right now because I have clarity now. Clarity that there's nothing, there's no side to take. There's no side to take. It's all there for you. Last night, it crystallized everything there. How dare I just blame Andrew Berry? How dare I just blame Kevin Stefanski? No, it's all there for you, Daryl. So what did you think watching last night's game?
Well, I think it's certainly an indictment of the state of affairs with the Browns right now because we had all assumed that Joe Flacco was washed up and he couldn't do it anymore. And then he goes out and does that on national television, beats the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we certainly now understand why Mike Tomlin was furious that Andrew Berry basically gave Joe Flacco to the Cincinnati Bengals. But the Browns organization looks like a bunch of stooges this morning, which they often do. The smartest people in the room look like they're the dumbest. Kevin Stefanski is going to have to answer for why that happened last night, and we're stuck watching a team that can't score more than 17 points in a game. With him calling plays on the sideline, putting game plans together. Andrew Berry needs to get his butt front and center and start answering some questions. I've never heard of a GM being completely inaccessible after trading a week one starting quarterback and also trading your starting corner. I've never heard of that. And not even a statement in like a release from Andrew Berry about stuff. So he's not accountable for anything right now. And I'm going to say this. If they fire Kevin Stefanski, they need to fire Andrew Berry too. If Kevin has to go, Andrew has to go. Because Andrew's the one buying the groceries that Kevin has to work with. And it's rotten. And you know what? It might be rotten by design. And that's what we all have to understand. This might be part of the grand plan. Winning might not be important to this organization this year. The players seem pretty frustrated.
Well,
Grant Delpit seems pretty frustrated. Myles Garrett seems pretty frustrated.
See, Daryl, somebody just sent that to us on social media. Like Bro TZ. Listening to the opening segment, they were not trying to win this year, so what's the point of any of this? The only thing Barry did was dig us more into salary cap hell by signing Miles to that contract. To go, read your own tweet back to you, sir. And I'm not trying to be mean to that guy,
right?
But if you're going to be all in for it, you better be all in for it. If you're really going to commit to that, you better do it. Because all you've done is just go into a circle here. That's all they've done. So, yeah, now we have the greatest player in Browns history on defense, and we regret signing him to a big, long contract. Only us, because you don't take some of the other things seriously to it. You trade away a guy that you didn't even want to start to begin the season because you traded away the guy you really wanted to start to begin the season. So you fast forward guys who are quarterbacks. So you want to see what these quarterbacks have, but you don't put them in a position to be successful. So you don't put Dylan Gabriel in a position to be successful, and you know already, Daryl, they ain't going to put Shador into a position to be successful. And I'm supposed to trust those guys to pick the quarterbacks in a class that is still a little bit rocky, but you know there's going to be a good one in there. There always is. So I'm supposed to trust them to pick that guy? We're continuously going into a circle here. There is no plan anymore. You can't tell me there's a plan. And the worst thing about it, I'm not trying to get mad at that guy, but the worst thing about it is that we say these things to protect ourselves from our feelings. Well, they're not even trying to win, so who cares? They're not even trying to win, so why be mad about it? Well, that absolves anybody of any responsibility, Daryl.
Yeah, 100%. And again, Andrew Berry's the one that put this offense together. He's the reason that the receiver room is the worst in the National Football League. He's the reason why there's no depth on the offensive line. He's the reason that Dylan Gabriel, who is not qualified to be starting NFL games, is starting NFL games. He's the reason why they, have a very polarizing rookie quarterback that is at some point going to start games this year and will probably have no chance, as you said, Ken.
And then we'll all fight each other over it. We'll all fight each other over it. We'll get called every name in the book because we set him up for failure, like it's us in the media that set him up like that. And then we'll
you'll be yelling and screaming at me on a Monday morning after the game because it didn't go like. Right. I mean that it's the vicious cycle here.
You're right.
And at some point the Browns need to change how they do things. Okay. I respect Andrew Berry. I respect Kevin Stefanski. But the product that they're putting on the field for loyal Browns fans is absolutely unacceptable. And they don't seem to understand that. And that's a problem. Grant Delpit's talking about in the locker room yesterday, I don't even know what it feels like to win anymore. That's your starting
clip.
safety.
We'll play that after you're done. Yeah, go ahead there, Daryl.
I mean, that's your starting safety. There is no winning culture here. There is no culture here. And that starts from the very top of the building, too, by the way. And that's a problem. So, I don't know how, Kevin survives this. I don't know how Kevin gets this thing back on the tracks. Because Joe Flacco made Kevin look incompetent last night. Joe Flacco didn't know half the Bengals playbook and yet was able to go out and put more than 30 points on the scoreboard and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers without even knowing their playbook. He joked after the game, that on the scramble. We all assumed that was just, Zach Taylor trolling all of us, showing off that Joe Flacco still maybe has some wheels on him. And no, that was a busted play that Joe Flacco completely messed up. And he's like, I don't know half the playbook here. I'm just making stuff up as I go along. And so what's wrong with your operation? What's wrong with your organization? How toxic is your organization? How dysfunctional is your organization? How incompetent is your organization that we had to see what we saw from Joe Flacco those first 4 games of the season before you benched him, blamed it on him, and then gave him away to Cincinnati, and he goes out and does that on national TV. Y'all look like a bunch of idiots this morning, and you deserve every ounce of grief you're getting from Browns fans and from you guys.
And Daryl, I'll tell you this. Let me take it further. I don't think that Joe Flacco, I really don't believe. If I was a betting man, I would bet against them saving their season. The AFC ain't that great, but right. But I'm still going to say I would still bet against Joe Flacco and the Bengals getting to the postseason and saving themselves. All right. But what yesterday showed is still what is possible 4 days after you played the same team. Because I look at some of the numbers of what the attempts were, it's really a lot of the same stuff. So then I have to think, all right, your game plans, maybe they're trying to be the same thing. Maybe you're just being too conservative. You're still not doing the right thing. The pieces that you've got, the plans that you've put together still aren't the right thing. So even though I say that, it doesn't absolve anybody. It's still right there. What yesterday did, even though it's a one-game thing, it showed you. It showed you what's gone on. Not what's possible, but what's gone on right there with what the Cincinnati Bengals did, Tone.
Well, I want to ask you, Daryl, because you mentioned how bad did Kevin look last night. When we saw Kevin and Joe Flacco and that offense together a few years ago, it was 300 yards almost every game. It was putting up points in the 30s in some of those wins. And it looked exactly like last night. So what changed with Kevin? Was it just that Kevin thinks the receiving room sucks, that Andrew Berry supplied him, and the offensive line, even though Cincinnati is a terrible offensive line too, and that didn't seem to matter in that one game last night? I do think that will, rear its ugly head eventually. But is that all it is? Is it that he was coaching so conservative because of the hand he was dealt, or has it been beaten out of him? Like, what happened to Kevin and Joe Flacco and the two of them together?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of stuff, and this is just my theory. I want to make that very, very clear. It's my theory. I don't think he made the decision to start Dillon Gabriel. I don't think he's made some decisions over the years. He's been a team player and gone along, but he's the guy that has to be out in front of the media answering the questions every day and taking the grief for organizational decisions and playing it off as if they are his decisions. And, that's part of it. I think the other part of it is, he's not dumb. Like, Kevin Stefanski's not dumb. He knows the hand that he's been dealt, that he has to deal with. And, again, he has to wear that. He has to be out in front and act like everything's fine and everything's positive and, they really are trying to win and put the best product out there. He knows that receiver room isn't worth anything. He knows the offensive line has no depth to it, but that's the hand he's dealt, and he has to He has to do the best he can with what he's given to deal with. So I think it's and how can he have confidence in the receiver room? How can he have confidence in the offensive line beyond the three interior guys? So in some respects, yeah, I kind of have to defend Kevin to be fair to him, but like also too, man, like it's hard to defend when the guy that was here, okay, that, can make some magic happen still on the field, wasn't really given the opportunity to do that because of whether it's the game plan, whether it's the personnel, the coaching, whatever it is, okay? Every Browns fan had to watch that last night, okay? They had to watch that and realize, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, Joe's 40, but yeah, he's not completely washed. There's some gas left in that tank, but we didn't get to see any of that for 4 weeks with the Browns. It was a bumbling bunch of fools for the first 4 weeks of the season out there on the football field offensively. And Browns fans are stuck watching that week in and week out. And now you put Dylan Gabriel out there. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the video mashups of Gabriel's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's laughable, the throws that guy missed. He can't see. He's 5'9" or 5'10". He certainly isn't what they list him in the media. He ain't over 6 feet tall. I'm 6 feet on the nose. I'm taller than Dylan Gabriel. But that's what Andrew Berry has given Kevin Stefanski to work with. So I feel for Browns fans this morning. I mean, the egg that this organization has on its face, it's thick and it's a lot. I really feel bad for Browns fans right now that this is what you were given to watch this year, and it's a shame.
All right, so Daryl, is this a win or you're getting fired game for Kevin Stefanski on Sunday?
I don't think it should be because, as I said earlier, Anthony, if you fire Kevin, you have to fire Andrew Berry. They're joined at the hip. You cannot make Kevin Stefanski the fall guy for this mess.
Who says Andrew Berry would stay? Because I got to tell you, Daryl, if they're chanting "Thank you, Cleveland" on a major broadcast.
Yeah,
they rubbed your nose in it. We knew it was unorthodox. You have 2 Super Bowl winning head coaches ripping you for it. I've said it over and over again. You've let go of general managers in the middle of the season before. It's hard. I don't know if it's really turned the heat up. I don't want to get mad at anybody and just let them go because I'm mad. But man, you lose to that Dolphins team that has quit on their head coach and they have quit on each other. This is going to be a bad, bad day, man. This is bad. This is Wednesday, didn't think so. This morning, after last night, I think there's a possibility.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's no justification for what we have watched for the last year and 6 games into a season. Okay, the last 23 games is offensive to Browns fans, and it should be because the talent level on this team, it's not a perfect roster. We know that, but the talent level is not the same as the expansion Browns. It's not the same as the burn the house down and rebuild it from the ground up 2015 to 2017 Browns, okay? But the product that they're putting out there, and that's why I throw it out there, maybe they're not bothered by the losses because they have the 2 first-round picks, and we all know that they're shopping for a quarterback. There's stories about the owner flying around the country, going to all the marquee games to scout the quarterbacks himself. Right?
Well, hell, wouldn't you right now? Wouldn't you be the only one you trust right now, Daryl?
Yeah, I know, and that's the problem, right? That's the problem.
I'd do the same damn thing. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I mean, that's the problem, that the owner feels compelled to do this. Would you trust Andrew Berry to pick the right quarterback next April? Because I don't.
How could I?
No.
Because again, it goes back to did Kevin Stefanski want to start Dylan Gabriel this soon? Can't say yes. I don't think there's any way. There's the game plan tells you. Yeah. I mean, he's trying to win. He's trying to take the quarterback out of the game, and the game that the quarterback is still the most important piece to the game.
Except for last week when he had him throw 58, try and throw 58
look
times.
But you see that, and this is what we tell ourselves because we all try to make ourselves feel better. It's human nature. Yeah. I looked at what the game plan was with the Cincinnati Bengals. Zach Taylor, he dropped back Joe Flacco. I think one was a design run. I think the other 4 might have been scrambles. It's over 50 times. And then you ran the ball 11 times with Chase Brown. Now, he had 108 yards on the ground, so there is a difference. You ran the ball with Quinshon Judkins 12 times. Yeah. I mean, hell, just looking at those stats, it's a lot of the same stuff going on. Well, hello. One guy's able to do it, the other guy isn't. Now, I don't want to claim crazy things here, but these are the things you think of when you've won 4 games in the last 2 years.
Yeah. It always boggles my mind. I say this time and time again, and I feel bad for being a broken record, but I'm mesmerized and captivated by the fact that football is fun everywhere else except for Cleveland. And football looks easy everywhere else in the National Football League. Well, maybe except for the New York Jets. Everywhere but Cleveland and the Jets. Okay? And it's just, Browns fans keep getting fed the same slop over and over again. You get maybe one good season once every 10 years. All right? And, we're focused on long-term sustained success. That's the goal. And they keep getting fed that line every time there's changes, and they never get the payoff. I keep going back to the 90s Cowboys when they went 1-15 with Troy Aikman as a rookie. 3 years later, they win the Super Bowl. And this is the indictment of Andrew Berry. This is the indictment of the Haslams. This is the indictment of Kevin Stefanski. The payoff for going 1-31 was supposed to be a Super Bowl. That's the whole reason they did that. And you got 2 playoff appearances and 1 playoff victory. That was your payoff, and now you're back to square one again. That is, to me, a crime.
Daryl, I love you. I got to let you go. I didn't realize we were so close. I lost total track of time because you were on a heater. Thank you very much, Daryl. We'll talk to you next week. God bless.
Enjoy the game Sunday, guys.
See, that's the difference. Daryl brought to you by Scheib and Jewelers. I usually tell him I'll see him in hell. I told him God bless. That's where we're at right now.